when have this conversation, difficult conversations with HR, with your boss, when you see there are other equal positions differently paid, how you will manage that?
The very first thing is to focus on you, on the impact you want to have, on the impact you had already, on your skills, on your own purpose, on your own story. And to not think too much or to detach, let's say, from comparison. Always keep in mind that you are special, you are unique in a great way, in your own way, and you need to focus on that, on creating your own story. That's, let's say, the first thing. So first thing first, in this, long journey of, women empowerment and fighting biases against women, we also need to fight our own biases and assumptions and focus on ourselves, what we need, what we want, how to formulate it, and just to speak up and to engage in true conversations with people who can help us, who can have a positive impact in our job, in our life in general, and to let them the chance to show up and to help us to improve the situation, whatever it is.
She is Celine Lüssi, the CEO and founder of Success Lab and an expert in salary negotiation and career development. In this episode, you will discover why negotiating your own salary can be so challenging, even if you are great at negotiating for others. She mentioned how our educational system shapes our negotiation skills and why we need to unlearn certain mindsets. Celine shared powerful tactics to help you transform your approach to salary discussions through coaching and preparation. You will also learn how to build strong arguments for a salary increase and be fully prepared to advocate for yourself. So feel comfortable and learn how to do all these things in this episode, hearing advice from an expert with multiple actionable strategies to empowering ourselves in the workplace. So welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
Welcome one more time to another episode of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. Remember that our main purpose is women empowerment through the lens of branding. What do that exactly mean is that we are having those conversations here that have this structure of learning and inspiration. So, of course, the guests that I brought, that I invite to come and join me, have a lot of, a ton of information that will help in you and all our audiences to learn, to feeling inspired, to take actions based on the reality that we are living today. So my guest today is a woman, creator of an amazing brand, Success Lab, and actually is a platform where candidates and team leaders are getting together to attract the best talent to the organization. So she is doing an amazing job as a professional coach as well. She will give us details later on. And she has been with an international background. And our main topic, based on her experience, because she has been as well empowering women. She's a part of different initiatives. And I will love you, Celine, to explain this later on. But welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. And of course, my first question is, could you introduce yourself and give a little more information about who you are?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Maria, once again for contacting me, inviting me, and seeing as well, the potential and the impact of what I'm doing. So thank you very much for that. I'm really excited to take part of your podcast and your initiative as a whole. So my name is Celine Lüssi. As you can hear, I'm French. I was born and raised in Paris. And now I'm living in Switzerland for the last 10 years. I'm married. I have a young son of 5 years old. And at a very young age, I could realize actually, and unfortunately, the difficulties for women in the workplace, because I was raised by a single mom, and my mom was always working a lot. The main difficulty was not only to be, of course, a single mom, but really to come back home every night with, all this stress and all those negative feelings and emotions, after all the, hard day at work and all the obstacles she had to face every day, mostly because she was a woman. And that's why very young, I had to understand this, but I never I didn't want to accept the status quo, let's say. And I always knew deep inside that one day at my level, I will want to do something about it. And then, of course, I grew up, I studied, and somehow forgot a bit about this, hoping that, times have changed and the society is different. But when I started myself working, I realized that it didn't change much. And that's why, I always worked in a banking environment. I really love it. I love the mindset. I love, being surrounded by ambitious and smart people, but it's really tough for women. And that's why I quickly moved to the human resources part of it, as an headhunter and also in-house, as an internal HR. And at some point, I really felt that I want to have an even greater impact to really better support people in their career development, in their leadership development, and especially women. And that's why I decided to open my own business, my own practice, focusing on coaching. I'm open for everyone, men as well, but I have to say I'm very grateful that a lot of women came to me and trust me for their career development, personal development, leadership development stories. And I'm really proud that every day I'm working along them to understand deeper who they are as a person and who they want to be, and to really find with them the best solution and the best ways to achieve their goals.
Well, that is fantastic, and I think that taking the decision to be focused in helping other women, to providing the tools that will make us succeed, is very important. And I saw as well that you are part. This is part of Success Lab, your business, and in the other sense, you are supporting women. You are part actually of the leading circle women in banking as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you end up on that initiative, and how did you use actually what you are doing to empower all those women?
Yes, absolutely, with pleasure. So Lenin is an American association. It was created by Sheryl Sandberg, who was the former COO of Facebook. She's very famous when it comes to women empowerment. A bit more than 10 years ago, she wrote a book called Lenin, and that's why the association is also named after the book. And the purpose of it is really that everything is pro bono, everything is based on volunteering. And everyone is, let's say, eligible to open her own circle according to, a purpose, or according to an industry or a certain subtopic, which is personal and close to her. And when it comes to me personally, as I said, I always worked in the banking environment. I'm living in Zurich, and here it's still a bit old-fashioned, I have to say, in the way that we do business, in the way that we do networking. And that's why there are more and more women, professional women, working in the banking industry here in Zurich, and that's great. But I really realize, and even more know, that I'm, independent and working with them with more like an open heart, let's say, way to open up. I realize that most of them really lack not only networking per se, but also a community to talk to, a community to exchange, a community to develop, let's say, their own self-awareness regarding certain situations, a certain topic, but also to learn from each other regarding how to respond to certain situations, and to also, of course, sponsor and support each other. And that's why I thought, to me personally, and for my, let's say, community that I belong to, it makes sense to create this circle. It's for free, so they can just register and attend the event, and everyone is just paying for their own drinks or consumption. And it takes 1 or 2 hours per month of their time, but the goal is really to get to know each other, to get to know our stories beyond what we do professionally, and to really one meetup after another to really create this, this support system. Because it's something which is really important in life and also for the professional development, but simply to not be alone.
That is interesting, Celine, especially the fact that you have been working to build community and building community and feeling the sense of belonging and feeling supported by other women that really make a big difference. And one of the main topics that, of course, based on your experience and being in this journey of supporting in HR as well, you have an amazing topic that is salary negotiation, especially for women. So part of the things that I wanted to ask you is why we are not that good negotiating our salaries.
Yeah. Thank you for these questions. Well, there are different factors, and of course, everyone is different when it comes to personality and the way we let's say convey confidence and assertiveness regarding our communication style. But there are lots. There have been really a lot of research regarding this topic to really understand, in terms of, let's say, mindset and psychology, why for most of the women it's difficult, let's say, to pitch for themselves. And there is an Harvard research that I'm always using when I present about this topic, which clearly states that actually it's proven that women tend to be extremely good advocate, extremely good negotiator when it comes to other people. So when it comes to, pushing for the good of somebody else, or for a specific cause they believe in, etc. But when it's for themselves personally, then they back off. And somehow it's based on different factors. First of all, it's, let's say, our inner nature, that we tend to care deeply for the well-being and the success of others and of our community in general. But also, unfortunately, it's also rooted into gender stereotypes that we somehow, internalized from very young age. And our society, our educational system, is unfortunately also ingrained in those stereotypes. And what I mean by that is, usually, and I am a mom of a boy, and I see, unfortunately, also myself, I have to fight this, that we tend to raise boys and girls in a different way. So we raise boys to be brave and, to always fight for what they want, etc. And we raise girls to be perfect, to be polite, to be first good in what they do before they deserve to get the reward, and to wait for the reward. Somehow, it's a bit, of course, a cliche, and I'm exaggerating a bit when I explain it, but somehow it's really close to the truth. And generation after generation, that's what we receive as an education. That's what we observe into others. And that's a baggage that we grew up with. And even as an adult, grown up, strong woman, we still have this, inside us, this little voice telling us, yeah, but I'm doing great. I'm doing everything good according to what is expected from me. I just have to be patient, and I will be seen, I will be recognized, and I will be paid for what I deserve. But that doesn't work like that in life, and even less at work. And that's why we have to unlearn, let's say, this mindset, and to just, acknowledge that we indeed did a good job. We did what it takes, but now we have to show off. We have to pitch for ourselves and to ask for what we deserve.
Yeah, well, you mentioned something very important: unlearning processes in us as an adult. The problem is not what we know. The problem is that we stay with what we know, and we don't want to learn other things. So unlearning is so important for that. And I guess, well, this is part of the things that you recommend, but putting that in a list, how we can learn from your experience some of the tactics or strategies that women can employ, actually, of course, not just to negotiate their salaries, but to other people to start to change their mindset. What will be this list of tactics that you can share with us?
So mindset shift, is really a big, of course, topic when it comes to coaching, because of course the main purpose of coaching is to offer transformation. So usually when people, whatever their age, whatever their background, and their main goal, let's say, when they rely on coaching, is because they want to go from A to B with a, let's say, clear B in mind, more or less. So we really work on this transformation and this mindset shift along the way. But it's involved a lot of different things, of course. But I would say there are two main things. First, to clearly visualize where you want to go. So meaning, what does it mean, this B for you? This, where's the direction? Not only in terms of, let's say, concrete achievement or concrete salary per se or job title, when it comes, let's say, to still talking to career, but what I call ideal image, meaning to have a kind of vision board about the person you want to be. What does it mean for you to get there in terms of, self-confidence, in terms of communication style, in terms of impact? What will it change for you as a person to achieve this? Or you feel inside and or you feel, let's say, outside, towards the others and towards how people perceive you and how you perceive them, etc. To really try to visualize this clearly. And once this is done, to really acknowledge honestly where you are now. And, somehow to really detach a little bit into different, let's say, aspects of who you are. What are the triggers and drivers? Meaning, do you want a salary increase because it's fair according to what you do? Or because you have the assumption that you are unfairly paid, but maybe it's not true? Maybe it's because, you are in a weird environment where you don't really feel recognized, where you don't feel really happy, where you don't feel fulfilled. And somehow you put all of these negative emotions on the topic of salary because you believe that will make you feel better, but that doesn't solve all the other things. Or is it because you really have this goal in mind because everyone around you has a certain salary and you compare yourself to them? Or because of your private life, because you have some special situation or special needs regarding, your responsibilities for your family, etc., and you need more money. That's also the case of many people, especially women, single mom, who are solely responsible for their financial safety and for the, the financial safety of their children, etc. It's a big topic that we very often, elude behind talking about part-time work-life balance or, But the reality is there is really a real need behind. It's not only that, there is always a deep root cause in the private life of people for what they ask for or what they need in the workplace.
I have a question, Celine. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but basically this is more like a self-discovering process in where you need to set up clearly what are your needs to asking for increasing a salary. But my point is how the companies are not keeping in consideration, for example, more the talent and the reasons why this position needs to be remunerated in certain way, and you need to go and ask for it because you consider that there is something probably not equal or fair or whatever.
Yeah.
What are those feelings, emotions? So I see that this is a lot of things that are coming around that really defining how you can need to be prepared to go and asking for increasing your salary. So how do you manage that at the end?
Yes, I mean, from an HR perspective, the problem is there is a lot of, let's say, ambiguity in the way that the HR strategy, and when it comes especially to salaries, management in general is made, because everything is really high level, which makes sense, of course, especially bigger the company, like less probable it is, from an HR perspective to really know every single employee and to know what they really deserve. So there is, let's say, like a big picture, big framework of, what is a budget for XYZ department, what it is according to market standard, a regular salary for XYZ job, etc. When it becomes more complicated, it's when people, especially women, for whatever reason, either because of their lack of confidence or because they have a very, as I said, urgency regarding their private situation, and meaning that they jump into a position which is maybe below what they can do, or they don't fight enough at the beginning for the right salary because they feel scared and they absolutely feel the need to get the job. And once they are in, the problem is once you are in, you are stuck.
Yeah.
Because then it's responsibility of your direct line manager to really understand who you are and what are your capabilities and what's the impact you have, or you can have even bigger. And this is the second challenge, because most of the line managers don't really have this, let's say, awareness and empathy to really see the people as they truly are. And they also maybe are afraid to engage in these kind of conversations because they don't really know how to talk to women. And maybe, they want to keep things easy, or let's say easy. It's never easy. Management is never easy. But let's say in a clear frame.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes they avoid this kind of conversation. And on the woman's side, it's an accumulation of frustration. When you know why you took a decision to take a certain job or to accept a certain salary, on the belief and on the hope that you will progress. But the reality is everyone is busy with just a day-to-day hamster wheel. And that's why it's kind of accepted in the workplace that people have to ask. They have to raise their hands if they want to be involved in a project, if they want to be promoted, if they want to have a salary increase, and to pitch for themselves and to create, the pitch, to explain, to justify. But again, based on education and gender stereotype, it's not how we are raised. We are not used to do that. And from the management perspective, there is also, let's say, the considerations that if people are fine, then they, let's say if people don't ask or if they don't say anything, they are fine. Let's say no news, good news.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to meet in the middle. And while there are like more and more, let's say, awareness in the workplace regarding those kind of topics, where there are more and more also regulation and regulation when it comes to really assessing regularly the fairness of salaries, that it strictly reviews, and they really try from, let's say, like a HR policy framework to really make sure that it's as fair as possible. But at the individual level, there is still a lot of work to be done to change, let's say, the communication style and the mindset when it comes to feel that it's normal to ask and to provoke this conversation. And also from the manager level to accept also that it's normal for women to start advocating for themselves.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of questions that are coming around that. And basically one of those is the way that you need to prepare yourself in the moment that you go and have a position. Because if you don't negotiate your salary in the moment that you are going to go into that company, then it will be very difficult to change that. But having the mindset, as you well said, and I am just wrapping up about what you explained, because I think it's very important to understand that deeply. And in the way that you are having that information, that you need to be prepared to show what are your skills and how you can help that company prepare very well, be self-confident to really go and say, well, look, I am delivering this value and this is the reason why my salary is this one, or I will be good, feeling well with this salary, but as well when you are into and you want to grow, what or how to manage, for example, when have these conversation, difficult conversations with HR, with your boss, when you see there are other equal positions differently paid, how you will manage that?
Yeah. So I would say the very first thing is to focus on you, on the impact you want to have, on the impact you had already, on your skills, on your own purpose, on your own story, and to not think too much or to detach, let's say, from comparison. That's really the first thing. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different background. Everyone has a different way of working. So really stop comparison, because of course it's good to have sometimes some drivers, like to say, okay, I admire this person, that's a good role model, that's good, but always keep in mind that you are special, you are unique in a great way, in your own way, and you need to focus on that, on creating your own story. That's the first thing. And to do that, really reflect on what is driving you, what's your purpose, what are you studying for? And that will really help you to craft also, your pitch around that, because we all have great educations, we all have a lot of skills, hard skills, soft skills. So to go beyond what is written on your CV and really to understand what is, let's say, the red line in your story. What are you also advocating for? Like, for instance, that's really something that I'm working a lot with my clients, storytelling, beyond being a great, analyst or a great salesperson or whatever. Why do you like what you are doing? Is it because you work for a company which is selling a product that you relate to? It is because you are working for an industry which is impacting the environment in a positive way, or because you are working in something which is really a topic close to your own values and your own aspirations. So use that as the beginning of your storytelling. Yeah. And then really try to really keep record of everything you have done to really illustrate your skills, illustrate your achievement, illustrate your capacities, and really create a bridge between your story, your values, your purpose, your achievement, your impact, your skills, and the same thing on the other side, meaning what are the values and the purpose of the company you want to work for, you're already working for. What are their, let's say, main goals? What are the challenges? And how you are a solution for them, and how they are a solution for you. And to really bridge the gap in the storytelling, so you really detach emotionally from, let's say, the immediate urge to have a salary increase or to have a promotion or whatever. And you focus on the long-term goal to create something together. That will really help you to be more articulate, to be more convincing, for them to better understand, the deeper impact you can have, and also to detach emotionally from, let's say, the pressure that they might feel when they have someone who is, pushing for more salary, because that's a short-term, let's say, discussion. But when you focus on the long term that you can create together, then somehow everyone starts to feel more at peace and to really focus on that. And then salary, job title, it just becomes a piece of the puzzle to get there. And it becomes easier to navigate than those kind of conversation, because once people are really focusing on the long-term impact you can have for them, then they will be so excited. And so, yes, of course, it makes sense. It's so obvious. That's great. Then, they will really go in your direction to find a way to make sure that you will work with them, to reach this goal.
That resonates a lot with what I am doing, that is personal branding as well. And I know that this is very well connected because, as you well said, build a story and storytelling and attach this with your values, I think is the key. And this is the key for many things. And actually part of those is negotiating a good salary. But if they don't see the value in you because you don't know how to tell the story, how to connect that with your values, and make a lot of sense for me. And I hope that makes sense as well for our listeners to have the opportunity to learn how to do a better job in negotiating, not jump into a position because the need, but actually showing the value and negotiating that well since the beginning. If I heard correctly what you say and learn a lot from you already. And actually, I have to say thank you, Celine, because all the things that you have been explaining us, giving the details about how to make that really works, because I know I can say it is very easy to be stuck in a moment where you know your value, but how to communicate that outside is very different. I mean, is how you can go and looking for help to someone externally to say, well, can you help me to see all the value that I already know that I have, but put it in another words, let's say. And then the people will contact a person specialized on that. Just to start to wrap up, Celine, because I cannot just pick your brain of more ideas about all your expertise, but in the process of your career and helping women around, what have been the lessons learned that probably you can give to all those people that are listening to us right now and they wanted to give this jump in their careers and are still probably stuck in how to do this next step? What would you say?
Well, there is still a lot of things to say.
I know.
But what I could really highlight, because it's something that I also learned for myself, and it is always repeating, and that's why I think it will really bring some value, hopefully, for your listener, is really to fight your own assumptions, because that's true that there are still a lot of biases against women in our society, in the way, all the everything that we see all the time in the movies, in the real life, like, that's true. I will not argue about that. Unfortunately, that's reality. But doesn't mean that we should always assume the worst, that we should always assume that people are against us, or, or want to abuse, let's say, our skills or our situation. Most of the time, people have good intention. It's just that maybe also on their side, they don't know how to express it. They don't know what they can do for you, or they don't know what you want. So first thing first, in this, long journey of, women empowerment and fighting biases against women, we also need to fight our own biases and assumptions and focus on ourselves, what we need, what we want, how to formulate it, and just to speak up and to engage in true conversations with people who can help us, who can have a positive impact in our job, in our life in general, and to let them the chance to show up and to help us to improve the situation, whatever it is. Because most of the time, when we give the trust and the chance to people to prove that they have good intention, they will pick up on this trust and they will really do something really great for us.
This is a very wise advice, and actually is something that people can start to practice or put in practice right away. And one thing that probably we haven't spoke about yet that I think is very important, it is these two sides. I mean, when you negotiate, it's two sides. So is you going to negotiate your salary, but as well companies, and with this big turnover that is happening nowadays, in order to retain your talent, will you have any advice for all those companies that wanted to retain talent, negotiating a good salary rate or how that will work? If you can talk a little bit about that before
Yes,
us
of
to
course.
wrap up.
Yes, every company is different, and then it really depends as well of the industry, and really depends as well of the overall package, because there is salary in one component, but there is as well many other things: working environment, work-life balance, like the quantity of paid holidays, maternity leave, paternity leave. There are many different things to take into consideration. So everybody knows that unfortunately at the moment it's quite tough, economically speaking, for a lot of companies, a lot of industries. And I think everyone can understand that. But then the question is, what are the other components where the companies can, let's say, try to compensate, to gain, to attract and retain their employees, and to really focus on the long term that they create together, to really see as well that for the employees it's also important to feel that they belong on the long term story of a company. And even if maybe it's tough, of course, to not have a salary raise for a couple of years, but they can understand this. It fits, makes sense in a certain context. But then what else can be made for them to still enjoy, going to work, to still enjoy contributing to the success of the company, to still feel recognized for the quality of their work. So really, every company can do different things according to their capacity, to their size, to their industries. But there are certainly a lot of things from the quality side, not only the quantitative side, that can be done for sure.
Well, yeah, I can imagine we can spend hours and hours talking about that specifically, and I think the people can contacting you. I will put your website, and on LinkedIn as well. They can contacting you. I think that is very wise what you are advising. Thank you very much, Celine,
Thank you,
for being
Maria.
here, sharing
Thank you so
your
much.
knowledge and being very open and still supporting women. I am really grateful about that. So thank you very much for being here, Celine.
Thank you so much, Maria. Wish you a great day and a lot of success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you have been inspired by this content and join us for future episodes of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We will continue exploring the power of branding and the stories behind successful brands. And remember, if you know a woman who has built a successful brand with a unique approach and a story to share, please refer them to our podcast. We would love to learn from their experiences and share their story with our listeners. Stay tuned for most episodes of Brilliantly Branded, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel for more branding insights and women empowerment. Until the next episode, ciao ciao.